I'll be teaching you how to sew this beautiful puff sleeve kaftan with drawstring at the sides. It has a placket and it's actually a turtleneck. So you can wear this dress in two ways if you want, okay? You can leave the drawstrings loose, or you can also ruche the drawstrings. So if this is what you want to learn in this class, I will encourage you to stay till the end of this tutorial to learn more. You can see how beautiful it's actually looking. Here is the placket. It's looking so beautiful. So if this is what you want to learn in this class, I will encourage you to stay till the end of this tutorial to learn more. So here is the other way you can also wear this BUBU kaftan. So to start off this tutorial, I'm making use of 3 yards of Ankara, but I have to cut out my 3 yards from my 6 yards of Ankara fabric. So I'm going to cut 3 yards because the length I'm using here is 54 inches. So when placed on fold, I have 54 inches from the folded part. So I'm taking the measurement again to be sure I have the 3 yards folded into 2 at 54 inches. So now I'm going to cut out the excess fabric right now. So I'm going to use the 3 other yards to make the pants of this dress, or the trouser part of this dress. So now you can see the part on fold. I'm going to place that part on fold again, but I love to cross check my measurement to be sure I have the exact measurement. So here I'll put it into 4, that is folding it another time. So, and this is the center front, the folded edge, and the center back. So we are going to mark the neckline at 3 inches for the back, 1 inch for the back. Neck depth is 1 inch and neck width is 3 inches. Then we are going to mark the neck depth at 3 inches and connect it to the 3 inches neck width for the front. Now I will go over to the sleeve area. So at the edge of the fabric, just measure 18 inches. You measure 18 inches and make your mark. So once you measure the 18 inches, you go in by 4 inches from that point. So just go in by 4 inches. Then I'm going to mark 4 inches on that edge till I get to the end of the fabric. So that is the part I'm going to cut off right now. So just make a curve at the armhole area. It's actually going to have an elastic because the sleeve is a puffed sleeve. So right now I'm going to cut what I have on the chalk line. So I'm cutting into the armhole area, and then we are cutting only the back neckline. So we open it up so we'll be able to cut out the front neckline. So I'll go ahead to cut the front neckline, as you can see right there. So here I will make a notch at the center front. Now I'm going to iron the part I'm going to place the placket. So after ironing that part, I'll just measure off 3 inches and measure your waistline. So my waistline there is 17 inches. So I'm going to mark the 17 inches and mark it the other way. So I'm going to set this fabric aside because I've made the crease line at the center front. So now we want to talk about the placket. I'm going to make use of the pieces I cut out by the side of the fabric for my placket. So what I have here is what I'm going to use for my placket, and I have a soft stay too. So I'll just place my soft stay on the fabric and cut my placket. So here I'm done cutting my placket. The width of my placket measures 4 inches. It measures 4 inches, and I folded half an inch on each side. The length of my placket measures 19 inches. So if I have some excess, I'm going to cut it off. So I have 2 plackets for the both sides. So right now I'll go over to the fabric again. So you can see what I have on the crease line I ironed. So I'm going to use my ruler to make that line visible using my chalk. So I'm going to make that line at 17 inches. I'll just make it very, very visible. So this is the point we are sewing this placket. So you can see what it looks like. So I'll just place the placket and make sure I fold it into two to have it centralized. Then you mark the ends of the placket. It does not need to move outside what this mark. So now I'll bring the two plackets, and this is how I'm going to place it. I want you to pay attention to this part. The open side, you place the part on the open side facing the left side, and we will also place the other side in the opposite direction. So you can see what I did. The open part is facing the opposite direction for the one below and the one on top. So I'm going to stitch at 1/2 inch right now. So if you notice, you can see I placed this placket on top of the line I made. So you secure it with your pin right now. So once you secure it with your pin, it's just to hold the placket on the center front line. So you can see the mark of 1/2 inch. You mark it again on the placket because that is where we are going to stitch right on the machine. So make sure the placket is centralized. So you can see on the machine right here, I'll first top stitch the placket. I'll first top stitch the line of 1/2 inch on my placket. So after top stitching it, this is what I got. So I'm going to reduce the placket seam line. It's like I have it more than 1/2 inch. So if you have it at 1/2 inch, it's okay. You can leave it like that. So now this is what I got. So I'll just cut through that line. But when you are cutting, please don't cut to the end. Just stop at 1/2 inch before the placket stitch. And then you are going to make a dovetail. Okay, that is go in to the diagonally. You can see how I cut through diagonally to the point the stitches stopped. Can you see that? So you have to go in that way. So once you are done opening the placket, the next we are going to do is to push in the side we cut off at the open end of the placket and top stitch on it. Then after that, we'll also bring the other placket, which is below, and also push it in accordingly. So we are going to demonstrate this on the machine right now. So we'll go over to the machine. I'll show you how to do that. So this is what I was saying. You can see the dovetail very close to the placket. So now the open ends, I'm going to place them accordingly. So I will just push into the end of that placket. That other part I cut, just push it in and secure with your pins. So after I'm done securing with my pins, I make sure it's straight. I'm going to top stitch the side of that placket. So I'll put it in through my machine and I'll just top stitch on top of it. So after top stitching, you can notice that the top that is being top stitched is also top stitching below it. Okay, so that means the placket, as I'm top stitching, is holding both the under and the top. So when you start to work on this project, you understand this explanation. So I'm done with the placket. I'll just cut out the excess I have. So just cut it very well. Now I will bring in the other placket, the one below it, and I'll also tuck in this other side, the rough side. Then I'll secure with my pin to make sure you secure with your pins as well. Then once you are done securing with your pins, you can now go ahead and top stitch by the side of the folded part, the 0.5 inch part. So I'll just go ahead and top stitch that side too. So try and make sure it's fixed inside. The rough edge is fixed inside the placket, so the placket covers it accordingly. So I'm top stitching, as you can see right here. As I'm top stitching right now, I'm arranging the inner part of it, tucking it in nicely, so I make sure it's laying straight and nice. So here I come to the end of the placket. So the next thing is to also cut off what I have on the other side. The excess I have on the placket, I'll cut it off. So once I'm done cutting that excess off, the next I will do now is to finish up the neckline. So this is what I have on the placket. So we are going to finish up the neckline right now. So the neckline, I'm going to measure it. So but you can also stitch the under. When you leave the dress, you can stitch the ducktail on top of the placket. So now I'll take the measurement round my neckline. Here I got 19 inches. So my neckline, round it, I got 19 inches. So I have a bias of 1.5 inch by width, and the length is 21 inches. So I added 2 inches to the 19 inches. That is how I got 21 inches. So I'll just fold it. Normal way of sewing your bias, that's what we are doing. So I'll lay it right side to wrong side after folding half an inch inwards, and I'm going to stitch round. Okay, at half an inch I'm going to stitch the neckline all around. So I'll keep stitching. By the time I get to the other end, I'll also fold in half an inch and stitch. So after that, I'm going to top stitch on the bias. So I'll fold in half an inch and another half an inch to top stitch the bias. Okay, so I'll just finish it up like this, top stitching to the front side right away. Of course, many of us know how to go about this part, but I still thought of showing this in case you don't know how to finish up the neckline. So I'm going to sew all around till I get to the end of it, and here I come to the end of the neckline, and we are done with the placket and the neckline. So this is what we got, and you can see how beautiful it looks. So the next thing we want to talk about now is the sleeve. I'll fold in half an inch like that for the elastic. So I want to create the elastic casing, so I can make 1.5 inch like that. Then it will guide me to fold my elastic casing. So I'll just fold in half an inch and I'll stitch from one end to the other like that. So my elastic casing is 13 inches. My elastic is 13 inches. So I'll use my safety pin and insert it, as you can see right here. So once I've inserted, this is what I got for my elastic on both sides. So now I'm going to create the strips that will form the ruche for us. So I'm cutting it at 1.5 inch. I'll use the excess fabric by the side, I mean the side I cut off, to make my strings. So I'll just go ahead and cut 1.5 like that. I'm going to join the ropes. Okay, I'll join the fabric to create the ropes. So this is what I got right there. So this is how I'm going to fold it to stitch. So normal way of sewing your rope, and these are my ropes. You can make it as long as you want. Don't forget to hem the down part of this dress before we create the ruche part. So I've already hemmed the down part, and now I'm going to close up the sides at 1 inch, and then we'll create our ruche. So at this junction, I'm going to make a mark. That is where we have our sleeve, and that is where the gathered part or the string part of this dress, I will insert it. So I'm going to use the side seam as the casing. I'm going to insert the rope inside the side seam. Okay, then I'll also insert the other part as well. Then secure with your pin. From that notch part, once you insert it inside the side seam is 1 inch. So you are going to secure the rope on the side seam. Then after that is done, we'll go over to the machine to stitch the beginning of the rope first. So here I have the part I want to stitch. So I'm going to stitch across first to hold down with the rope. Okay, I'm going to hold down my rope. So I'll tuck in the side seam a little bit before I top stitch on it. So once I top stitch, then I'll now start folding the sides. So once you are folding the side, please don't stitch on the rope. Just push the rope beside the seam inside and then fold in 1/2 inch and continue your stitching until you get to the end of the dress. Okay, so I'll keep stitching by the side like that, folding 0.5 inch like that till I get to the end. So I'll keep pushing the rope, just keep pushing it by the side so you don't stitch on top of it. So that is what I'll keep doing till I get to the end. So once I get to the end, this is what I have. I'll top stitch on it. Then I'll go over to the other side and repeat exactly the same thing I did on the right side. So I will sew till I get to the end too. So what I'm doing right here, that is exactly what I'm going to do on the other part. So after I'm done, this is what I have on one side. I'll now draw the rope or the string. So we have gradually come to the end of this tutorial. So you can see what we have on our dress. You can now push it up the way you like. After that, the next thing we are going to do now is to go over to the placket, and we are going to stitch the placket pin. So I'll just go ahead and stitch it at intervals of 4 inches, about 3 of them. And that is how we'll come to the end of this tutorial. I believe this class was helpful to you. So if you have watched up to this moment, why not subscribe to this channel, turn on your notification bell to receive more videos. Thank you.